The stolen shuttle skimmed low over Vesta's southern hemisphere, navigating between jagged mountain peaks that thrust from mist-shrouded valleys. 3 days had passed since their desperate escape from the Wanderer. 3 days of evading military patrols, conserving fuel, and following whispered coordinates that might lead nowhere. Energy signatures ahead, Ethan reported, studying the shuttle's sensors. The readings were faint, deliberately masked, but unmistakable to experienced eyes. Someone's down there, trying very hard not to be found. Kira leaned forward, her face illuminated by the console's glow. Hope and apprehension battled in her expression. "My people," she whispered. "Perhaps." The shuttle descended through layers of cloud into a hidden valley shielded by natural rock formations. As the mist parted, structures became visible, dwellings partially embedded in cliff faces, connected by suspended walkways, designed to blend with the natural environment. "They're here," Ethan breathed. "You were right." Before they could land, warning shots flared across their bow, not powerful enough to damage the shuttle, but unmistakable in intent. "We come in peace," Ethan transmitted, using the Nyx language protocols Kira had helped him program. "We seek sanctuary." Silence answered. Then a terse response. "Identity and purpose." Kira took the transmitter, speaking in her native tongue, a cascade of musical tones that the translator rendered only partially. "I am Kira, daughter of the Eastern Water Clan. I returned from captivity, seeking my people." The landing coordinates arrived without further comment. Armed Nyx awaited them, taller than Kira, their violet-gray skin marked with clan patterns, their white hair elaborately braided to denote rank and lineage. Their weapons, organic-looking rifles that seemed grown rather than manufactured, remained trained on the shuttle as Ethan powered down the engines. "Let me speak first," Kira said, squeezing his hand. "They will be cautious." Understatement. Ethan murmured, noting at least 12 weapons aimed at their position. When the hatch opened, Kira stepped out first, hands raised in a traditional Nyx gesture of peaceful intent. The waiting warriors tensed visibly, not at her appearance, but at the human flight suit she wore. An older Nyx stepped forward, elaborate silver markings covering her face and arms. "You claim to be Kira of Eastern Water," she said in accented human language, clearly for Ethan's benefit. "Yet you wear human garments and arrive in human vessel." "I am Kira," she affirmed. "I was prisoner of the Valkyrie for 3 cycles. This human," she gestured to Ethan, who had remained carefully still, "freed me. Saved me." Suspicious murmurs rippled through the assembled Nyx. The elder studied Ethan with penetrating eyes. "Humans serve the Valkyrie's interests," she stated. "Why would one free a prisoner?" Ethan met her gaze steadily. "I serve my conscience," he replied. "Not the Valkyrie." The elder's attention returned to Kira. "Show your clan markings." A flash of pain crossed Kira's features. She slowly unwrapped the scarf she'd kept around her neck, revealing the scarred remains of what had once been intricate birthright patterns, now overlaid with the scientific notation the Valkyrie had carved into her flesh. Gasps and whispers spread among the onlookers. The elder's expression hardened. "The marks are desecrated," she pronounced. "Contaminated with Valkyrie symbols." "I am still Nyx," Kira insisted, voice unwavering despite the trembling Ethan detected in her hands. "Are you?" The elder circled her slowly. "You speak their language. Wear their clothing. Arrive with their warrior." Her tone grew colder. "What did you surrender to survive, daughter of Eastern Water?" Kira straightened, dignity etched in every line of her body. "I surrendered nothing they did not take by force. I kept my spirit intact." Another Nyx stepped forward, younger, with warrior markings. "The protocols are clear. Those who return from enemy captivity must be purified before rejoining the community." He cast a meaningful glance at Ethan, "Especially those who return with outsiders." "Purification?" Ethan asked quietly. Kira's jaw tightened. "Mind cleansing," she explained, not looking at him. "To remove outside influence." The implication struck Ethan immediately. "They want to erase your memories." "Not all," the elder clarified, still watching them with calculating eyes. "Only those contaminated by captivity, by associations." Her gaze flicked meaningfully between them. Ethan fought to keep his expression neutral, though anger burned beneath his calm exterior. After everything Kira had endured, her own people would strip away her hard-won recovery, her autonomy, her memory of him, in the name of purification. "And if I refuse?" Kira asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Then you are not Nyx, the elder stated simply. You cannot dwell among us. A heavy silence fell. Ethan watched Kira's profile, the subtle shifts of emotion she had learned to read over their months together. This should have been her homecoming, her healing. Instead, it was another form of cage, one built of tradition rather than metal. May we have privacy to discuss? Kira requested formally. The elder nodded. Until sunrise. Then you must decide, return truly to your people, or depart forever. They were given a small dwelling on the settlement's edge, a single room with sparse furnishings that nonetheless displayed the elegant Nyx aesthetic. Plants grew along the walls, providing soft bioluminescence. Water flowed through channels in the floor, a sacred element in Nyx culture. Once alone, Kira's composure faltered. She sank onto a woven mat, hands covering her face. I'm sorry, Ethan said, kneeling beside her. This isn't what we hoped for. They fear contamination, she said softly. Fear I bring Valkyrie attention. Human attention. They fear change, Ethan corrected gently. You've changed. Survived in ways they cannot understand. Kira looked up, her eyes luminous in the dim light. They offer belonging. Safety with my kind. At the cost of who you've become. Ethan took her hands, trying to keep accusation from his voice. This was her decision, not his. At the cost of us. Yes. The single word held worlds of meaning. Darkness fell. Through the dwelling's translucent roof, Vesta's 3 moons cast overlapping shadows. They sat together in silence, the decision between them like a living thing. Finally, Kira spoke. When Valkyrie took me, I survived by remembering. Clan songs. Family stories. The taste of morning water. Her fingers traced the scars on her neck. When memories faded, I thought I would fade too. Become nothing. Ethan listened, heart aching. Then you came, she continued. Gave me new memories. Taught me human words. Human touch. Her hand found his face. Made me more than Nyx. More than survivor. Made me Kira again. But different Kira. And now they want the old Kira back, Ethan said softly. Yes. Her smile held sadness. But she is gone. Cannot return to what was. Only to what might be. As midnight approached, Kira rose and began to pack the few possessions they'd brought. Ethan watched, scarcely daring to hope. You've decided? She nodded, continuing her methodical preparation. I choose memories, she said simply. Choose who I have become. Then, turning to him with eyes that held both sorrow and certainty. Choose you. Dawn found them at the shuttle, pre-flight checks complete. The elder and several warriors approached as Ethan loaded the last of their supplies. You reject purification, the elder stated, observing Kira's packed belongings. I honor what I have survived, Kira replied. What I have learned. What I have become. The elder's expression remained impassive, but something like respect flickered in her eyes. The decision is recorded. You may not return. I understand. Kira performed the traditional farewell gesture, a movement of hands that symbolized water flowing away, never to return to its source. As they prepared to board, a younger Nyx darted forward, pressing something into Kira's hand, a small water vessel inscribed with clan markings. For remembrance, she whispered before retreating. The shuttle rose into dawn light, leaving the hidden settlement behind. Kira watched through the viewport until mist obscured the valley, her expression contemplative rather than devastated. I expected more grief, Ethan admitted once they reached cruising altitude. Kira turned to him, her eyes clear. Grief is for what was lost, she said. Not for what is chosen. Her hand found his on the control panel. I choose this path. Choose us. They ascended through layers of atmosphere, the shuttle climbing toward stars. No pursuit followed. The Nyx would not reveal themselves, even to stop her departure. Below, Vesta receded, homeland becoming simply another world among many. Where now? Kira asked, looking to the navigation screen with its galaxy of possibilities. Ethan smiled, bringing her hand to his lips. Somewhere new, he promised. Somewhere we both belong. As the shuttle broke free of Vesta's gravity, they left behind final ties to their separate pasts. Ahead lay uncertain future, military pursuit, worlds that might reject them both, but they faced it together, neither fully human nor fully Nyx, but something new the universe had not seen before. The frontier outpost of Helios Drift existed in the shadows between jurisdictions, a ramshackle collection of habitats and repurposed mining facilities orbiting a forgotten gas giant at the edge of charted space. Here, species mingled with minimal scrutiny. Here, backgrounds were wisely left unquestioned. 6 months had passed since Ethan and Kira had fled Vesta. 6 months of calculated jumps between transport ships, false identities, and constant vigilance. The military bounty on Lieutenant Ethan Frost, now branded deserter and species collaborator, had eventually been reduced to a low-priority alert. More pressing conflicts demanded the fleet's attention, and one rogue officer with his alien companion became yesterday's concern. Their arrival at Helios Drift had been unremarkable by design. Ethan now went by Thorn, a freelance mechanic with specialized knowledge of propulsion systems. Kira, with her quick intelligence and remarkable adaptability, had established herself as a translator for the outpost's diverse population, her facility with languages making her invaluable to traders and officials alike. Syndicate merchant wants better price, Kira reported, slipping through the door of their modest quarters after a day's work. Says Orion officials cheating him on import tariffs. She shed her outer robe, revealing the simple tunic beneath. He is correct. They are cheating him. Ethan looked up from the engine component he was repairing. Did you tell him that? Of course not. Kira's lips curved in the smile that still captivated him, slightly mischievous, entirely her own. Charged him extra to mistranslate, just enough to get fair price. She set a container on their small table. Bought real food with commission. Their evening routine had developed comfortable familiarity, sharing meals at their salvage table, exchanging stories of the day's work, planning careful improvements to their living space. Tonight, Kira had brought fresh produce from the hydroponic gardens and protein that wasn't reconstituted from algae, luxuries on a frontier outpost. As they ate, Ethan noticed Kira glancing repeatedly toward the viewport, where the gas giant's swirling surface cast ever-changing patterns of light across their quarters. Something on your mind? He asked. She hesitated, then reached into her robe pocket. Found something today. She placed a data crystal on the table between them. News from Central Systems. Ethan activated the crystal cautiously. A holographic display flickered to life. Military tribunal proceedings, dates, names. His own among them. Case dismissed, Kira pointed out, finger tracing the glowing text. Insufficient evidence of treason. Lieutenant presumed lost during routine patrol. Ethan stared at the official record in disbelief. Someone covered for me. Captain Rivera, Kira suggested. Perhaps others. The implications settled between them like a physical presence. After months of looking over their shoulders, of calculating every risk, of living as fugitives, the pursuit had officially ended. On paper, Lieutenant Ethan Frost had disappeared, presumed dead in service. We're safe, Ethan said, testing the unfamiliar concept. Safer, Kira corrected pragmatically. Not same as safe. But the news shifted something fundamental in their shared existence. That night, they made love with a new freedom, the weight of pursuit lifted from their shoulders, the future suddenly expansive with possibility rather than constraint. Afterward, they lay tangled together in the gentle artificial gravity, Kira's cooler body temperature balancing Ethan's warmth as it always had. Now what? Ethan murmured against her silver-white hair. Kira propped herself on one elbow, studying his face with those mesmerizing vertical pupiled eyes. Now, we live, she said simply. The following weeks brought subtle changes. They began venturing beyond work and quarters, exploring Helios Drift's eclectic community. At a communal gathering in the Central Plaza, they discovered others like themselves, beings who existed between cultures, between species, creating something new from fragments of different worlds. There was Dren, a human xenobiologist who had modified his body with cerulean adaptations for underwater research, now ostracized from both communities. Mealer and Joe Wren, interspecies mates who performed haunting duets blending Centaurian harmonic singing with human instrumentation. Vox, whose species was extinct except for themselves, preserving cultural memories through holographic art installations. Boundary Dwellers, Mealer called their loose-knit group one evening as they shared drinks in a quiet corner of the outpost's recreational sector. Not belonging fully anywhere, so we create somewhere new. The concept resonated deeply. In the months that followed, their quarters gradually transformed, no longer a hiding place but a home. Kira filled it with water elements inspired by Nick's aesthetics but reimagined, floating gardens with hybrid plants, kinetic sculptures that played with light and shadow. Ethan contributed technological comforts and earth-inspired touches, softened lighting that mimicked sunrise, music systems, cushioned seating arranged for conversation rather than utility. Their relationship evolved as well, deepening beyond the intensity of forbidden connection into something steadier but no less profound. They established rituals, morning meditation facing the gas giant's ever-changing surface, evening walks along the outpost's observation deck, weekly gatherings with their growing circle of boundary dwellers. The Helios community began to recognize them as a unit, an established pair. Ethan and Kira became a single concept, commented upon with approval by neighbors and colleagues. Their physiological differences, once stark, became familiar landscape. Ethan no longer consciously noted the slight luminescence of Kira's eyes in darkness or the coolness of her skin. Kira no longer remarked on the strange warmth of his body or the rounded pupils of his eyes. One evening, Kira returned from her translation work with unusual quietness. She moved about their quarters with distracted efficiency, preparing their meal without her usual commentary. "What's wrong?" Ethan finally asked, setting aside the maintenance logs he'd been reviewing. Kira placed 2 bowls on their table before answering. "Refugee transport arrived today," she said carefully. "From Vesta System." Ethan's attention sharpened. "Nyx survivors?" "Yes." She sat across from him, eyes lowered to her food. 3 families. Escaped before final Valkyrie sweep of southern continent. The implications hung between them. "Did you speak with them?" "Briefly. For processing." Her 4-fingered hand traced patterns in the condensation on her water glass. "They remember legends of Eastern Water Clan." "My clan." "Did they recognize you?" "No." A shadow crossed her features. "Markings too damaged. But they carry water songs I thought lost forever." Her voice softened. "Songs from my childhood." Ethan reached across the table, covering her hand with his. "Do you regret your choice?" Kira looked up, her expression complex with emotions he'd learned to read over their months together. Sorrow, certainty, and something deeper. "No," she said firmly. "But I wish to. Remember. Share." She hesitated. "The refugees have children. Little ones who never knew Vesta as home. They forget their heritage with each passing cycle." Understanding dawned. "You want to teach them?" "Yes." Her eyes held his, vulnerable yet determined. Not to return to past, but to carry forward what should not be lost. 3 days later, their quarters welcomed the first gathering. Nyx's children sat wide-eyed on cushions as Kira demonstrated the ritual water pouring that had marked seasonal transitions on Vesta for millennia. Their parents watched from the periphery, initially suspicious of this strange Nyx woman with her human mate and her hybrid.